that our theme song to this week?
Let's just all sing it.
1, 2, 3.
Hate you guys.
Alright, well, welcome to Signal Soundbytes. This is a special Game of Thrones edition of Signal Soundbytes, and for the first time ever, we have the editor-in-chief herself, the queen of the deadlines, the Khaleesi of the Signal, and I forgot the rest of the titles, but she's here. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Liz. I'm the editor, and I'm very excited to be here.
Wait, did you prepare all those titles? Oh yeah, clap. Yay! Did you prepare all those titles?
I was gonna have it prepared, but then I just forgot.
You
the rest of
forgot
it.
Mother Dragon, Breaker of Chains.
Yeah.
Chains.
I was gonna come up with a whole thing of really specific news related ones, but then it's I forgot to do it. So that's what you got. Also with us today, Anna. This is your first time on the Signal Soundbytes as well.
Yes, hello.
Yay. And we all know Trey.
Hi.
So, as we all know, Game of Thrones will be starting up July 16th, which is very, very soon, and a lot's happened in the last 60 episodes. Anybody want to recap? What was some crazy things that have gone on?
Oh boy.
Stick out in your mind?
For the whole series or for this past season?
What do you...
Oysters for sale. Fresh oysters. Fresh from the bay. That's all I got.
It's all I got.
Oh, and the random actor changes that no one discusses. They just replaced that guy who ended up being a very important part in this entire series.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah.
But that happens sometimes,
Yeah, that threw me off. I had to Google it because he's different.
I mean, you gotta wonder if that guy regrets leaving the show. I don't know if he left the show or if they got rid of him, but if he was this ain't going anywhere. I can't see this turning into an almost a decade-long franchise producing more money than some countries. I mean, whatever. It's just books, right?
Yeah.
What is this, Harry Potter for adults?
It's probably just train thought.
Yeah, that guy regrets that. Weird things.
So, everybody saw the new trailers, right?
I did.
Did you try?
I keep on wanting to see them, but also avoid them. That way I have all the surprises for next season.
There's so many spoilers.
Yeah, I'll go with that answer.
See, I spent last night watching a 20-minute video of them breaking down the new trailer, and, seeing everything. Because it's really interesting.
People have way too much time in their hands.
Yeah.
I feel like trailers have gotten a bit out of hand lately.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, for the trailer for Jaws, did they ever... can you imagine if they, showed off the shark, in slow motion coming for the boat? Oh, well, there's the movie. No. It was... I don't know specifically what it is, but I feel like trailers reveal a lot these days, and in a lot of ways they're just sort of mini preview episodes, diced down into, 30 seconds.
And that's why I don't really want to watch them, but I have to see them because I can't wait, but I also want to wait. It's a struggle.
I like to spoil things for myself. That way I can anticipate it.
You're spoiled.
I do.
You're so spoiled.
I am spoiled.
You're so spoiled.
Very spoiled.
I remember that I didn't think John was coming back, and then the new season started, or it was about to start, and my cousin was like, well, obviously he's coming back, and I was like, no, he's dead.
No, dude, he's dead.
He's gone.
He's gone forever.
They spent 30 minutes just zooming in slowly on his dead face.
And then the first episode came around, and I was like, well, okay, cool.
He's still dead. This is great.
Yeah. I remember I really thought he was dead because I was like, well, he can't die. He's one of the main characters. But then I saw, pictures of him, out, at airports or whatever, and he cut his hair.
Right.
So I freaked out. I was like, oh my god, he's really dead.
He did an interview, I think, on Jimmy Fallon or one of the late night shows, and Jon Snow, whatever his real name is.
Kit Harington.
Yeah, Kit Harington. He got pulled over.
Oh, yeah.
And the policeman was like, I'll let you go, but you have to tell me. And he was like, I'm sworn to secrecy. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
It's well, too bad.
He's contractually obligated to not sneak that stuff. But then whoever gets to make the trailers is like, nah, ha, 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 ha. I'm gonna spoil all this for you.
Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm hyped, but I'm not hyped for this.
Did you see all of last season?
Dude, I've seen every single episode.
Well, because you had talked about before that you had, like,
times.
stopped or, like, you're protesting it or something. I don't know what your trip is.
Why are you not excited?
Because at this point, there's not really any more character development that's going to happen.
How do you
Like,
know?
this next season is just all the battles coming to a head. And, like, if Game of Thrones has taken its time on anything, it's getting to the juicy bits. But we've spent 6 years arriving at the juicy bits, and now, like, picturing dragons at King's Landing isn't that far-fetched. Because they're not the size of chickens. Picturing Arya killing someone isn't that far-fetched, because I've seen her do it, like, 6 times now. Like...
But, okay, so in the new season, Jon's going to figure out that he is a Targaryen. And I'm really excited to see how he's going to try and accept that. Or what he's going to do with it. So I think there's still some development going on there.
He's probably going to frown.
There is some development, but I can totally see what you're saying because they definitely just killed off like half of the characters.
Yeah.
So
And I
they
liked,
really will focus.
I
on
liked a lot of the dialogue battles, like between Varys and Littlefinger, right? Like whenever they're playing their mind games, we're never going to get that again. Like that's over and done with. They're now doing their things, like all the juicy
But
bits.
see, what's interesting for me is like I spent the last 6 seasons watching these characters, these main characters, like doing their own things in their own little world. But now you're going to be able to see like Daenerys interacting with Cersei, who you haven't seen in 60 episodes, ever share a scene. So that to me is interesting. Like these type of characters who are considered the core group haven't even spent time in a scene together. So that's going to be interesting, I think.
It's probably
to
funny
see.
for the cast because
Yeah.
they've really filmed separately for these 6 years or so.
Yeah. No, in that aspect. But at the same time, we've spent 6 years getting to know these characters. I think we can imagine how that conversation is going to go.
Just be excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Be
You never
excited,
know.
Trey. Don't be a
No.
downer.
Hey, I'm excited because I think Bran's going to warg into a dragon. And I think that
Oh,
would be
snap.
really interesting to see.
I haven't heard that theory yet, so
just-
elaborate.
It'll happen.
It makes
You're-
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, it takes 4 seasons just to get from the wall to, fucking Winterhold. So, I mean, how is he going to warg into a dragon from half a world away?
Yeah, he's just gonna be stuck there for like I bet the majority of the season.
I don't know. I mean, because there's that whole theory. You know how he's been like having his visions and everything. And there's the theory, I think me and you talked about this, that he actually is Bran the Builder from back in the days.
Mm-hmm.
And that he works into him. And so he keeps changing the past. And it's just a big cluster in my head. But, okay, in the trailer, you know how they showed Jon Snow? And he was like in a pit fighting off some White Walkers and Whites? So I think, okay, you only see Jon there, but somebody's gonna have to come in and save his ass.
I did see a picture of John on the internet that was definitely very edited, but it was definitely him as a White Walker.
Really?
So
But see, how can he do that? He's already dead.
And he's been brought back to life by the
Melisandre.
Yeah, and like when we saw the last guy who got brought back to life, I mean, he's miserable and his soul is in 1,000 pieces like Voldemort or something, but he is definitely a servant of that god in one way or another because...
Well,
he got
the
brought back
Night
to
King
life.
saw Jon and he didn't kill him.
Yeah.
It must have been because of his uncle. Like, because he's like half dead. He's not a white, but he's not a White Walker.
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
So he's just, living on the edge.
But back to that point of like that he's constantly Brandon like changing the history and the past or whatever. What if, since they're all separated and they all have their individual stories, what if they're all on separate timelines?
Oh, like a Westworld type thing.
They're all on different timelines and only one's the real timeline that's going forward. Because if you notice, I don't think there's ever been like John's like, oh, I'm going after Cersei, but because he doesn't really care for that. I don't think Daenerys doesn't really know. I don't think about Cersei being in power, and Cersei doesn't fully know about Jon and Daenerys. You know what I mean?
So are the Ravens time travelers? Like, whenever they...
Well, I mean, when you think about
message?
when you think about the fact that the Third Eye Raven is a representation of these greater elements, and they use ravens as the main form of communication, like it does lend to your theory a little bit.
Yeah.
Third eye. There's 3 possible.
I mean, there are 3 major story arcs if you follow them, and
which are.
But what about Varys? What role would
Well,
he play? Because
Varys?
he's been to both. Like, he went over to Daenerys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
And
he's
been
also
in
one of the
King's
only
Landing.
people who first encountered magic in the real form.
And there's also...
But there's also Theon. He
Yeah.
was with the Stark family with Jon. He was with the Greyjoy story. He's with Dany. I don't think he's been to Westeros really, but other than that, he's been in almost. Well, he's not really been with Jon, but he's been with Sansa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Interesting.
It
It-
is interesting.
it might not necessarily be like 15 years time traveling,
Mm.
but it could be even because seasons are really important, and seasons apparently last for decades at a time.
Mm.
So
See, I'd be very on board for that theory, except that the Starks are all related, and we saw
Yeah.
them in the beginning all together.
Mhm.
So they've kind of aged gracefully, and it doesn't seem like an abnormal aging period. So I'm having trouble buying that theory.
Yeah, because they talked about, Daenerys in that too. Like, Robert mentioned her then
Mhm.
too. And
Yeah.
she was at that age as well, after the war.
That's true.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, too many things change for you to be able to really say that. I mean, at least in Westworld, you could be like, his shoes are different
Mm-hmm.
than the other times you see his shoes, because that's a detail I'm supposed to pay attention to in these episodes.
Well, in
Yeah, pay
Westworld, they
attention
wear
to
the
that
same
hat.
outfit every single
No, I
day,
know. There's
so-
enough repetition for you to notice weird discrepancies and be like, but it's an interesting theory. I like it.
Yeah, I hadn't
Good.
heard that one.
Yeah.
I
It's
like that.
possible.
Um,
You never know.
I theorize that. Oh God, what's his name? Remind me his name. Kingslayer.
Jamie.
Jamie is going to kill Cersei.
Oh, that's
Okay, I have a
happening.
lot to say about that.
All right, go
That's,
for it.
that's happening. That's
Okay.
a thing.
So there's the whole prophecy from Maggie the Frog that she gave to
Mhm.
Cersei, but your children are all gonna die, and then the little brother will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So far all of her kids are dead.
Yeah.
And then they're saying the little brother, and so we've always kind of thought it's gonna be Tyrion.
Right.
Because he's literally the little brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie's still like a few minutes younger than her.
Mm-hmm.
So I really want Jamie to kill her, just because that'd be.
Jamie
what a
has shown
justice right there.
positive character development into a decent human being.
I can believe
And it's mainly
Yeah.
Brienne, I think.
And he's also acknowledged the fact that he is a broken human being. And as Game of Thrones teaches you, if you are broken, you will survive.
And what would be left for Jamie if Cersei were to die?
He lives up to
Well,
the name of Kingslayer, and that's
yeah,
where they
that's
end
what
the
I was
show.
gonna say. Like, because she's pretty much turning
Yeah.
into the Mad King.
Yeah, that's his
And-
crescendo.
Yeah.
Because he was also, remember, when the show first started, everyone hated him for killing the Kingslayer. Like, they hated him for being a Kingslayer, even though he did a good thing. Like, generally speaking, he's Prince Charming, kills the Mad King.
But he was
So-
still his Kingsguard. Like, he shouldn't have done that.
Do you think
yeah,
Dany would then kill Jamie for revenge?
No, because, like, I don't think Jamie wants the throne.
No.
Like,
But
he
just-
he took up and got in the Kingsguard, so he didn't really have to
Mhm.
have the throne.
But
Yeah.
just revenge that he killed her father.
Oh.
I
possible.
don't think she cares that much.
Yeah.
I think
don't
she wants
really met
the
him.
throne
Yeah.
more than she wants revenge for her dad. But I think I did watch the trailer because she arrives at Dragon's Tooth, whatever her old
Dragonstone?
her ancestral
Yeah,
home,
Valyria.
right? So she gets there, and I mean, she's gonna have some feelings and some emotions, as anyone
She's
would.
gonna be in her feels.
Just not for Dora.
I mean, she spent the last. I wouldn't. I mean, I guess you could say 6 years in the desert, but I don't know how much time passes for them versus for us.
See.
So
See?
no,
Goes
I know.
by.
Yeah, no, it could be like a decade for them. Either way, that's a long time to spend with sand between your toes, and then getting back to your childhood home that you remember, and you're like, oh, that's right. This is where I was stolen from and turned into a sex wife.
Well, she really went to Pintos, and then she got sold off to.
Yeah, but still, like, I'd have some feelings. So maybe I'd want
Yeah.
revenge on those guys.
But there is a theory that
Uh-huh.
Tyrion is actually not a Lannister, but a Targaryen.
Yeah. In the books, he has white hair.
Because it says that, maybe the Mad King had an affair with Tywin Lannister's wife, which produced Tyrion, which would go with the whole "you're not my son, you're not my son" sort of thing. But then, if that's the case, I think it's going to be interesting when it's found out. Cersei realizes this. She realizes that, it's not going to be Tyrion that's the little brother that could possibly kill me. There's only one result, that's Jaime, and she tries to set out to kill Jaime. But it backfires.
Isn't there a theory in the books of, like, there will be 3 dragon riders? And don't they have to be Targaryen?
Yeah.
So then it would be Jon, Dany, and Tyrion.
And that's why, I mean, there was that. I went back and started watching season 6 again.
It's probably not a bad
and
idea.
it was, I watched it where, like, Tyrion's like, why are these dragons, like, all, chained up and this and that? And so he went down and was like, hey, nice dragons.
Yeah.
Like, let me take off your chains. And they did not eat him.
Breaker of chains.
Yeah.
Just very
But so,
Hey, Liz.
they approve.
Hold the door.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
Yeah, no, it'll always be too soon. Like, I was shopping and someone was like, hey, get to hold the door, and I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not strong enough to. Yeah.
That was such a heartbreaking episode.
Oh my god, it was.
That was so unexpected for me. And then at the time it was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we were watching the director's cut, like, their 2 minutes, and they were like, yeah, we were shocked. Like, we were heartbroken when we
They're
found
like,
that
sorry about that, guys.
Have any of y'all watched, like, the Game of Thrones, like, after show?
I have
After the
seen
Thrones?
some
I've
after
seen
the
some of
Thrones,
that.
yeah.
I know they have a podcast. Like, I never really listened to it because I didn't know about it. But I like both those guys, and I'm curious if they're going to do it for 7 too.
Whenever it was a very intense episode and I needed to decompress, I would definitely watch all of After the Thrones.
I'd usually just call my therapist.
You just going there.
That's also a good move.
Call my therapist and just go to a bar and think.
But you don't drink.
No, I don't drink. But being around
So
that,
that-
that theory.
but being around other people who are sad and deep in their own thoughts, it helps. It's kind of like going to a party and having fun. You go to a bar and you just get sad. But no. So, I mean, we can speculate what they're going to do with season 7, but what are they going to do after it's over? I mean, I've heard, like, rumors of prequels,
Yeah,
right?
prequels, sequels.
Yeah,
There's supposed to be 5 of them or 4?
I think there's 4.
4?
Yeah, before possible ones.
Well, if it's one thing that I really look forward to, it's another prequel to a story
see,
that I
do
don't
we-
need one to.
Yeah.
If it's Robert and Ned,
That
and
would
how
be
they defeated the Targaryens, yeah, I think that would be interesting.
It's a classic fanny. Okay, so someone described Game of Thrones to me very well, right? They said Game of Thrones is what happens at the end of the Disney fairy tale movie. Prince Charming rides off with the beautiful bride, and they defeated the villains, and the end. And after the credits roll, that's when Game of Thrones starts, where the war has ended, and all these warriors go home and try to live normal lives, right? Therefore, I don't care about a prequel because I've seen it 1,000 times before. The knights who are all valorous and they fight the dragon and they kill the bad guy at the end.
But then you'd actually get to see, like, the Targaryens, because you keep hearing these names being thrown around and you don't have a visual to go with it, with the exception of that
That's
tiny
true.
little flashback that they did.
Yeah.
I would appreciate that because as someone who hasn't read the books, it is easy to get lost. And so it definitely is something that, because I'm so invested, I do research and I do look at the history of it to understand it more.
And I think everybody just wants more Ned Stark.
I'm just tired of
Because we know he won't die yet.
He'll be around for a
We know he's
while.
going to stick around for a while.
I'm just so tired of prequels, man. I'm tired of unnecessary flashbacks to stories that I've figured out. I don't know. That's me, though.
Where are we in the books? Have we surpassed?
So
passed
at
the
the beginning of season 6, we were neck and neck with the books, right? So
Yeah.
he was writing the book, and season 6 was being filmed and written, and you can basically count the beginning of season 6 as the major diverging point between all the plots. So like, so far it's been books and movies really well meshed, and then season 6 it starts to split because TV show has to do something for the season, because if you don't do Game of Thrones, people will literally burn the city down. And George R. R. Martin has to write another book because at this point, what else does he have?
He already promised. Yeah. He owes it to us.
He promised. So you might see some major plot point differences between the two.
But they're going to come back together at the end.
Yeah,
I'm
because
sure that's what he said.
Okay.
I'm sure he's talking
because
to
he's
the
working
writers.
on the book with the writers of the show, so they're all kind of working on the story together. But I mean, things
But that's
can
the thing.
change
The cool part about it is that we've surpassed the books. So then, at this point, anything's possible. You don't really know what's going to happen.
No, that's true.
And so it leaves an unpredictability with these 2 seasons that you wouldn't have before.
No,
Because if you read the books, you read the stuff, you know what to expect.
And those people love to screw with the people who have not read the books.
Oh yeah, no, I remember telling someone like season 2, I was like, Bran's gonna fly, and they're like, what? I'm like, he's gonna Neo up and fly, like he's gonna do crazy stuff. He's gonna Professor Xavier his way to your brain, and they're like, no, he's not. And then he ends up being Professor Xavier Neo, and everyone's like, oh my god. And I'm like, yeah, books get crazy, man. It's not all just 400 pages of wine. I mean, it is, but
That's also lots of lines.
maybe this is all just a drunk hallucination of a bunch of medieval peasants.
See, I think when Bran got thrown out the
do
window, that's when he's dreaming all this stuff.
Oh yeah, like
And he's gonna wake
the show,
up.
like the story just ended when their child like went into a coma, and they're like, oh,
I'd die.
damn. Everyone's just kind of going along with. I mean, they're like how things were like up to that episode were. It wasn't the best world, but I mean, it was stable. You had a fat king who was throwing parties. You had a old vet ruling the middle ground, and then you had cold people up north, and then people in the desert. Like, it's all good. We're okay.
Well, if you do have a storyline that you wish it would go in this direction, I have heard that the writers do look at the fan theories
Yes.
and will kind of sway their writing towards that. So,
Ooh, pick mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
really
know they made
good
Tyrion a lot more likable because the fans liked him so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I do love Tyrion.
I know, he's one of the best.
Because
ones.
every pre-television like personification of him is just the worst.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well, yeah, he's supposed to be like really hideous in the books. I mean, I'm only in like book 2, but still.
Yeah,
He's not.
he's difficult to look at and difficult to be around. He's kind of just miserable. He's like an ugly drunk troll. Yeah.
Have you read all of the books?
I've read most of them, and then I got cliff notes from my friends who were busy reading them as they were trying to get me to watch Game of Thrones. And I'm like, guys, come on.
So, Liz,
This is lame.
in the books, so you said that Tyrion has white hair. Does Cersei and Jaime also?
They have hair of yellow. And his is more white.
Mm-hmm.
But see, another like defining trait of a Targaryen is they have like purple eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have any of that in the series because it took away like the way the actors could portray emotion. Like it messed with their eyes.
It's a little distracting.
Yeah.
Although, to fun little fact, there are people in real life who have purple eyes. No, there's a tribe in
believe that.
there's a tribe in Afghanistan where like their ethnic heritage includes having purple irises.
So they're the real Targaryens.
Yes,
I guess so.
Interesting.
they also guard over a lot of opium fields. So take that how you will. But yeah, purple eyes. Can confirm. Have seen pictures. Have seen them.
Interesting.
Neat stuff, man. So.
So
maybe they
with
ride
this new
track.
season, because there's only 2 more left at this point,
God, there's still 2
and
more.
what do you hope to see out of this season? Like, what things do you hope get resolved to lead us into the final season?
I don't want the whole season to be battles. Please, no more. Like, I love battles, but come on. You can do more with your characters than a battle.
I mean, they just had Battle of the Bastards, so of course this season they're gonna have to have Battle of the Bitches.
Yeah. I mean,
Seriously,
No,
they're
you're-
gonna have to have it.
you're spot on for it, but like the last couple of seasons have been intense build up to battle, and then it's like the episode before the last episode, and they're like, battle! And then the last episode of the season is, man, we survived that battle. Just wait, bigger battle, coming to battle.
Well, what they do is they alternate. Like on the finales, most of the time it's like it ends in like an epic death or it ends in a battle.
Like a cliffhanger or a...
So this season would be another death. Because...
Who do you predict that
we had
death would be?
Oh, it'll be Cersei.
Who's the youngest Stark?
Bran.
Well, Rickon's still alive.
Rickon?
No, he's still...
Rickon dies.
He died.
He died?
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
put
that's
him in
right.
the
You
middle
didn't
of
think that.
I forget. How did Rickon...
Did we just spoil that for you?
No, I just... There's 6 years of television to try to remember.
There's only 4
How did he
Stark children left.
He was... Ramsay had caught him and he put him in the middle of the battle.
Yeah, he didn't know the
And he
house.
told him to run.
Oh!
And
I
When he
just
should
kind
have just
of...
zigzagged,
Yeah,
man.
he didn't know.
He didn't
damn.
zigzag with
Okay,
it.
who else is innocent and left?
I think it's going to be Arya. I think they're going to kill her off.
No,
I don't
they're
know.
bringing her wolf back. Nymeria's coming back.
Yeah, she's one of the only wolves that never actually died. Like, even
Yeah,
in the
she would
book,
not-
they never... Apparently in the book, like, her wolf became, like, a
Yeah, she like started her own
like...
direwolf clan up in the north area.
So that could still...
So she's supposed to come back.
Army
Because
of
I saw
wolves.
pictures of Maisie Williams,
Yeah.
Arya, on her like Facebook.
Yeah, that is canon.
Yes.
So that is actually canon. That they, because at this point, any plot points in the books that they haven't gotten to in the show, they're having to put into the show because it's been long.
Okay, so then what about Jorah, who has the grayscale?
Okay.
So there's competing theories about who's going to fulfill the prophecy of the Red Star, right? And he's one of those theories.
Tell me about the Red Star theory.
I mean, I don't know it verbatim. I'm not.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you remember in the first episode, like, when they, like, point to the red, like, comet going through the sky, and they're like,
The prince
Oh.
was promised?
oh, it's an omen. Yeah.
Or like the Azor's Eye.
I think it's the Zora's Eye. I don't know. It's one of the... He's supposed to be, like, the hero that saves the day. Supposedly. He's one of the competing... It's like him, Jon Snow, and, I forget the other one.
Cool.
Yeah. But supposedly he's got more to play, because, I mean, the man's just falling apart at this point. But, no, I don't think they'll kill him.
We'll see. So with... Because I was just reading this again, like in like book 2.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, like, Daenerys is in Karth. Like, with, like,
Koth.
Anyway, so I saw that girl again. I remember in the show, she was one of like the 13 people that rolled in Karth, and she had that big thing over her face.
Oh, the veil, and
Yeah.
she gave, like, the secret message or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think somehow, like, obviously her face was all covered. I think that she, like, had grayscale and got it cured. Because Stannis' little girl was cured of grayscale. So somebody, I think, should cure Jorah.
Inoculation. They just need to get inoculated against it. I mean, that's...
So,
Catherine
where we
Trey
left
did.
him, did he leave to go find a cure?
I don't remember.
But is it worth saving him? I mean, was his
I'm
character
not
really
sure.
that great?
Well,
He
that's
was
the
great.
thing. That's
I
the
didn't
thing
find that
about
great.
Game of Thrones. If you pretend to be great, you will get killed. If you pretend to be honorable, you will get killed. If you are actually honorable, you're gonna get killed. The better a person you are, the the shorter your lifespan. If you're terrible, if you're broken, if you're crippled, if you're useless, you will live forever. Like, if the world has crapped on you, you are going to have, like, the meek shall inherit the earth in Game of Thrones, at least. That seems to be the theme here.
Interesting.
'Cause
So, where does Arya fall in that category?
Well, I mean, she did see her dad get killed, and she has lived her entire life with the thought of vengeance, so I think once she gets her vengeance, she'll die.
I could see that.
I think that's going to happen.
I mean, she's kind of a one-line character. She's great. I love her. She's fantastic.
she's my favorite.
But
I was frustrated by her time away from Westeros because I felt like that was going to be something really cool, and then I felt like they wasted seasons on her.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool, you taught her how to fight, and now she's going back and like, oh, a girl has a name, it's Stark.
yeah.
Like,
Also, a lot of that was supposed to happen much earlier in the show, according to the plotline of the books. So, because she went blind pretty immediately. Like, she got out pretty immediately, but they skipped a lot of that in the show, and it took them forever to get back to her. So,
Well, it still felt like forever for me.
no, I know that's part of why it's all kind of like, all right, we get it. You're selling oysters. Oh my god. Because if they had done all of that when it was still fresh in our minds that she's on the run and like she just saw her dad die, then it would have some more meaning. But they kind of dragged out that relationship.
a lot. Oh, also prediction: Hound kills Zombie Mountain.
Hound heals what?
The Hound is going to kill Zombie Mountain. The mountain. His older brother who's a zombie.
Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should happen.
Yeah. And if I could predict a little bit more, I bet he kills him with fire. But then, his whole thing is kind of also fulfilled. I mean, at this point, it's just 2 seasons of character fulfillment, and then they can end it on a good note.
Do you think it's going to end on a good note, though?
Well, I mean, a good note as far as good story writing, or a good note as in a happy note? Because it's Game of Frowns. Everyone's frowning.
Everyone.
It's not a happy story.
Except for Arya when she kills somebody. That makes her happy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the kind of happy you're supposed to feel.
Well,
She's a weird child.
I feel like there's laws for that kind of happy. She saw her dad lose his head. I mean, for a guy who was that calm all the time, to see him lose his head like that, woo! Ha! Double entendre of watching your parents die.
But I think Arya deserves the reunion with Jon and to have all that. And then Gendry, I want to see him come back.
yeah.
If his arms haven't fallen
He's still
off.
rolling.
But he's got to come back. He's got to come back and make Jon some badass armor. 'Cause that's what he is. He makes all that.
Do you want to see the Greyjoys and come back for the Iron Island
I hate
leader?
whenever we go over to the Iron Islands.
Wait. Gentry, who was he again?
He's Robert Baratheon's bastard.
Yeah.
But didn't he get sacrificed by Melisandre?
He escaped.
No, she thought he was the reincarnation of Azor Ahai.
Because she took
but
his
he
blood.
wasn't. Yeah, she put the leeches on him and
But, I
stuff.
mean, do you
then
think she just-
put him in a boat and he's rowing?
Yeah.
Really?
He's
Yeah,
still
he's
rolling.
right around Dragonstone.
That'd be so funny if he just came around rowing.
It'd be funny if
He
climbed
came back
onto
in the
one of
direction.
Danny's boats.
I don't remember them. Did they show the rowing in the show, or is that?
Yeah.
I mean, they never went back to it, but they showed him rowing
They
away.
showed-
I vaguely remember that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. No, I remember that now. That was weird. That was a weird, all right, put him in a boat. And they're like, sail. Weird night, man. Hell of a party. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. They gotta. There's the obvious character fulfillment, but then there's always, we're talking about an author who killed off 30 characters because he had too many characters. So it's not like he's particularly attached to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's attached to a few of them.
The broken ones.
Yeah, I'm sure he says
That's
a lot
who
of
he's
himself
attached
and
to.
Jon.
Mm-hmm.
That is who he is attached to. The broken ones. I mean, Jon is anything if not disassociated as hell right now. He is just.
The poor guy.
He's the one who
He's been through a
tried.
lot.
Yeah.
He's tried to get away from all of this nonsense more than anyone, and he has had all of this nonsense thrust upon him more than anyone. They're like, let's elect you leader of the Night's Watch. And he's like,
Do I
why?
have to?
Oh my god, why? I was 5 minutes from leaving. Oh god, I came up here to get away. This is all terrible.
Okay, what about Littlefinger and Sansa being the people of the North? Because she wasn't that excited that Jon was now king of the North.
Right.
See, I think Sansa's gonna turn into
I don't think
a
Jon was
Cersei
excited.
kind of
Yeah,
she's gonna
she's
just
very manipulative.
yeah,
Aw.
she
I don't
is
think
going to
Jon was
No, I
happy
love
about being
Sansa.
king of the North
Yeah.
either.
Well,
to be
yeah.
fair,
to start the
Once again.
very beginning when her character first came into whatever play. I did not like her because of her attitude and just how she was, but over the seasons, she's grown on me, and she's become more mature, and she's become more
that's
of
dangerous.
somebody to keep your eye on.
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's one thing in the books that they did express a lot better. The whole thing whenever Sansa was like, oh, I love Joffrey and this and that, whenever she's
Yeah.
being pretty much held captive in King's
Yeah.
Landing,
Mhm.
you got more inner dialogue in the
Mhm.
book, so you could see that she was actually modeling herself after Cersei, so she knew how to play the game.
Well, yeah, that's
Mhm.
smart.
And
I
everybody
mean,
watches the show and they're like, oh, I hate Sansa, she's so weak. And it's like, she's really
But
not.
yeah, and if you think of
she's-
everything she's gone through,
She's not
you
dumb,
know,
but that's
she's-
that's not good, man. I mean, when manipulative people get damaged, they don't turn into Superman. They turn into villains.
And sorry to switch it a little bit, but I read something online that said, it sounds really stupid, Sansa, if you can tell by the way that she wears her hair, who she's modeling herself
Oh my
after.
god.
Whenever she was in King's Landing, she had it done just like Cersei, and then now she dyed it black. So it's she's modeling herself after Jon.
Yeah.
I just think that's pretty interesting.
So she
That is
thinks Jon
interesting.
is a really
Yeah.
good female role model.
Is it because he's
Well,
Just
no,
as
just
a
'cause he's
leader,
honorable.
yeah.
Is it because he's pretty?
That too.
He's pretty.
Yeah.
I ain't afraid to admit it. He's a pretty man. Kit Harington, what's up? Hit me up.
Hit me up.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, no. That's interesting and very Westworldy. Because now every time I think of weird character details that define a character, I just think of Westworld. Like, what color is that person's shoes? I don't trust anything I see on screen anymore. I was lied to for a year.
Well, I've appreciated Sansa's character development, but I am sad the turn is taking with Littlefinger because I definitely think he's going to play into. You need to be more manipulative and more
I think
persuasive.
she's
I
gonna
think
play
he's
him.
going to. Yeah, I think he's going to try to play her, and she's going to see through it, and she's going to kill him.
She's
I'd be okay with that.
she's already playing him by
Yeah.
being what he wants. And if she was doing that as early as however old, 10 or 11, whatever she was supposed to be when she met Joffrey,
When-
if she was doing that early on with someone who was way more terrible,
When she released those dogs, that to me shifted a whole change in her that showed that she is not nobody's fool. She's not going to be played by nobody.
Exactly.
She'll make you think that you're playing her, but she's not stupid.
she don't need no man.
She don't even know.
And she's about to see how powerful women can become in this world. Because remember, at the beginning of the show, it was all men in charge and men
Yeah.
are drunk and terrible and fat. And now we're getting to three to four major female leaders, because even Greyjoy's sister is a
Yara.
strong
Yara.
female leader.
Yeah.
And Arya, oh my god, like all the female leads, and the men are just gonna get eaten by
Damn.
But
dogs.
see, like Sansa she still did need Littlefinger though to bring that army. So I mean, I don't know if she's just using him or what.
I think
she's like, I need
using
to save
him.
my brother's ass.
I feel like I can't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure there's a scene where she tells Littlefinger like what is going to go down and what's going to happen, and she dictates to him, and he's just kind of like, oh, he's just taken aback and he's in shock, and then that's a turning point. That's a shift in the relationship. I mean, he's always tried to make her into something, and she recognized that he was susceptible to that. All she has to do is pretend, and then be like, oh my god, my mother would totally love it if you, like, brought an army to Winterfell and just, like, totally trashed all these guys, and it would be super cool, and she'd love it. And if I were my mom, I'd totally love it too. And he's like, I could do that. I could bring you an army. Oh my god, I could bring you like 10 armies, girl. Let me show you my army. And she's like, oh, it's so great. And then she starts commanding the army, and he's like, hey girl, what are you doing? And she's like, oh my god, my mom would love it if you let me command this army. Like, that's all you have to do to manipulate a guy. Just, that's it. And she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Sansa for senator.
Sansa for senator?
Yeah, she'd make a great senator.
Sansa for the Iron Throne. Huh?
That's too far.
That's
possible.
No.
But do you think the Iron Throne is really going to be that big of a deal come the end of the season? Come the end
terribly
of
uncomfortable.
the series? I think it's just going to be like destroyed or something. I don't think
I
it's
would
going to
like
play
that.
that big of a role.
Because it's like, okay, so they fight and fight and fight to get to sit on the throne, and then you don't get to see them rule. Like, if anything, that's what a sequel would be good at. But it all depends on
I could
who it
definitely
is.
see Dany getting on the throne and destroying the throne and saying,
You know what?
just like saying no throne.
I would like to see if they decided to do a sequel, not a prequel, a sequel. I would like to see a time skip. Because, I mean, based on where they start the storyline, you're kind of interpreting that there's been a time skip. Because it doesn't just go from, Ned Stark, like, alright, we won the day, and now I'm suddenly with 7 kids and a wife. And they're all as old as I was in the war. No, there's a time skip. There's like 20 years of nothing happening. So, if you can get whoever ends up on the throne, if they decide to do a sequel, which, I mean, it's literally the biggest, like, budget and profiting television show since, what, The Muppets or television or, like, the Apollo program. I'm not sure how much money it's making. But again, probably the GDP of a country. If they did a time skip, whoever is on the throne, just skip ahead 20 years.
Yeah, because it's the whole thing with the story. It's like, it's not the old people. Like, everybody wanted Ned to stay alive because he was honorable, he was good. But then it's like, it's about the young people coming in, finding their own.
It's like
So
in the
it'd have to
Godzilla
go
movie.
to, like, whoever's on the thrones, like children, or I don't know, Little Sam,
I mean,
if he's still around.
There's no telling. Maybe a lot of those curses and threats that were laid out where we are now finally start to come to fruition down the road, you know? I mean...
So where do you guys think they'll leave this season off? We said a great death, but if there's another season next year, or
I think the
whenever it
final
comes-
season is going to be focused on like the White Walkers versus whoever's in power.
Yeah, the Great War.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be. I think at the end of this season, they'll kill off Cersei, and either Jon or Dany's gonna be the person in power in the Iron Throne. But see, at the very end, I think Jon will end up getting the Iron Throne, but he's gonna be the one that destroys it. Kind of like what you were saying about Dany.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna be the one that.
I
destroys
can't
it.
Because he
imagine.
doesn't want it.
Ooh,
Exactly,
Ooh,
yeah.
ooh, cool idea. So, Jon kills King White Walker, takes his sword. He can hold it because he's kind of a zombie. Goes to King's Landing, walks up in the Red Keep, takes the sword, and hits the Iron Throne with it. And what do those ice swords do to metal? Shatter it.
Yeah.
Boom! Snow in the Red Keep.
Yeah.
And that would fulfill that prediction of the Red Keep being covered in snow. I figured it out.
there
I
you
solved
go.
the Game of Thrones. I win.
See,
We don't have to
this
watch
is why I
anymore.
don't actually like talking about Game of Thrones, because that's going to happen, and I'm not going to be amazed because we had this conversation.
But no, because you'll be amazed, like, wow, Trey, you had that cold.
Right? You should totally
You're
tweet
like-
me and be like, dude, you were correct about that
Like-
thing. And I'll be like, which thing? I'm right all the time.
Well,
Yeah, I don't like that.
let's not go
No one really likes that. No one actually enjoys that. By the way, like 90% of the cast of Game of Thrones is also on Taboo by Tom Hardy. Really good show. No dragons, but good show. Good show. Voice from the back. Good show. Yeah. No, Tom Hardy, he like co-wrote that show with his dad, and it's like really good. So if you want to see more of like,
episodes and I didn't like it.
If there's no dragons.
And I like Tom Hardy.
if you want to, it gets good. All right.
Just
If you're-
watch it on mute.
Well, if you're interested in like really twisted plot points and like conniving psychological, like Tom Hardy makes the perfect omnipotent narrator who knows all the secrets, and it somehow is still suspenseful.
Omnipotent.
Yeah.
Define that.
Omnipotent?
Yeah, define it.
Well, it's like, okay, so you know how Harry Potter is narrated to you outside of everyone's perspective, but is inside everyone's head?
Sure.
Omnipotent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking up an
Anyway.
actual definition right now.
I mean, in
I
the
was like,
literary
that's
sense,
like, I've
it's-
never heard that word before.
In the literary sense, there's like first-person perspective, third-person perspective. Omnipotent
Interesting.
narrator is inside
See, I always
everyone's
thought it
head.
was omniscient.
Yeah.
They're both the same root word.
Omnipotent. That's a new
No, I
word.
Is it
know.
the same word?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Having unlimited power, able to do anything.
Yeah.
Having the ultimate power and influence.
Tom Hardy does have ultimate power and influence in that
So
show.
I just think of it as a sovereign body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good show, though.
All-knowing-
And Una Chaplin is a
all-knowing
fantastic
narrator.
actress, and she's in it, so. She's also the granddaughter of Charlie
Charlie
Chaplin.
Chaplin's granddaughter. She's also in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, half the cast is on this show, and they do a fantastic job of it. And then they all... their stories are interesting.
So is it everybody who died at the Red Wedding? Is like
Not everyone, but I will say that everyone that has died in Game of Thrones has ended up on that show. So, yeah.
possibly.
Yeah. Red Wedding, Purple Wedding, or White Wedding, whatever you want to, whichever.
So we
Was
should
it we
look
had the
up
green
who's going to be
wedding?
in future episodes to see who's going to die in season.
Right? Like, I'd love to see Kit Harington. Oh, and some actors from House of Cards are on it.
I do like House of Cards.
Yeah? Mm.
See, I'm curious who Ed Sheeran's character is going to be.
Yeah.
He just says like he has a conversation with Arya, and I'm like,
Wait, he's in Game of Thrones?
he's gonna
Yeah,
be.
he's gonna
He's gonna have a cameo, and who
Yeah.
else? Like
Oh,
Conor
that's
McGregor,
such fan
the
service.
UFC.
Yeah, I think so.
No, he's
That
probably
is
just
so
going to be a
interesting.
bard.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be a traveling bard who's like, da-da-da-da-da, here's some advice for the plot, da-da-da-da-da, now I'm gone.
Yeah, he said
He's like
didn't
walks
film
up to the
much.
Iron Throne. He's like, I'm in love with the shape of
Yeah, that,
And
Yeah.
Cersei.
Right?
that,
He's like the gesture or something.
no, like, I could totally see him, like, just chilling on the side of a road and being like, hey, like, playing a guitar, he's like, hey, you, don't take that path, I've heard it's bad. Ha ha, wink and a nod. And then Arya's like,
Boy, if that wasn't an obvious Merlin character in this moment. And then takes the bad path because this is Game of Thrones.
I'm fairly certain I will miss his cameo and have to rewatch it to find him in there.
Ooh, or they'll disguise him as something completely unrecognizable. Like Glenn Close in Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that the other day again.
Yeah. Did you, knowing that she plays that guy, you're like, I still can't see it.
Yeah, they're making a prequel to that. About how Rufio came to be the leader.
I don't need to know
Okay,
how
Rufio.
Rufio
We
became...
just love prequels.
Oh my... You guys ever wondered how, like, Han Solo and Chewbacca met and, like, how he got the vest in the Millennium Falcon? Oh my god, let's make a movie about it. No, we don't need that. You were
Look,
introduced...
Howard's doing it.
You get introduced...
So good.
When you meet Han Solo, it's like, he's a smuggler. Sweet, that's all I need to know. His character is
So there's
set
nothing.
up.
There's no show, no movie that you do not like a prequel to.
There's a reason we have archetypes. There's a reason we have archetypes.
So none at all.
No!
Okay.
They're useless. Prequels tend to over-explain things that are already explained to you, and they ruin the ability to have your own imagination of how things started.
Yeah.
You sound like one of those people that read the book and is upset that the movie's not like the book.
Actually, no. Like, I recognize that they're both different mediums. I just recognize that prequels are entirely made to profit. They're based on nostalgia, and I am so tired of things being made for nostalgia.
But
God, it kills the ability to make original content. It does.
But the whole thing, okay, so like with Star Wars, like Lucas had it all planned out that he would do these three and then go back and do the prequels.
Do you know why
So-
he planned to do the prequels? Because he got
had better
merchandising
money,
rights.
Yeah, to do all the
Yeah.
effects and special effects in the future. But so he planned it that way. I don't know.
This is turning
Yeah,
into
and
a
those turned out
debate.
great.
This is good.
Those
It's like better than Battle of the
fantastic.
Bastards.
I mean,
Those were the best
the
movies.
story was interesting, minus Jar Jar.
Do you know what movie made
Hey, I
more
like Ewan
money?
as Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan.
Do you know what movie made more money than Star Wars Episode 1 on its opening weekend?
Any?
Tell us, Trey.
Spider-Man.
Which one?
The first one,
Which was
2002.
2002?
2002 Spider-Man beat out Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah.
There was more hype for an original story about Spider-Man than there was for the prequel to one of the biggest franchises in cinema history.
I mean, I definitely understand. Prequels definitely are just to make more money, but I think there's also a fandom that surrounds it that wants
want
it.
that.
They
That's why
crave it.
fan fiction exists. And yeah, I get it, that's great. But you also have these amazing writers and artists who are just rehashing the same story for the rest of their lives. Like, we will never be in an age until cinema dies without a Star Wars movie. And that's kind of sad. Because that means that any other franchise that tries to compete with Star Wars will have to compete with, like, an East India Company monopoly of space-based movies.
I'm
When you
good
make-
on space-based movies, though, so it's okay.
But then you get the same thing with Marvel Cinematic Universe. You might get the same thing with Game of Thrones. Like, it's going to be hard to break into these genres when you have a singular genre-defining entity that
So
takes
then
up the
maybe
entire
they should make
production.
their own genre
Yeah.
and become,
We just need more.
pioneers in
Do
their
you know
own.
how
Yeah, we just
long
need more
it takes to
original
make a
ideas.
genre?
Like Hollywood's just getting lazy and they
Yeah.
just don't want to make
No, they
anything
are.
new.
They're
they're
rehashing
figuring
everything
out
from the
the
90s. They rehashed everything they could from the 80s. Now they're rehashing things from the 90s.
Everything's coming back from the 90s. Zima.
Yeah.
Do you know what's going to happen? We are
It's
going
so
to be
disgusting.
30.
Head to UACL.
We're going to be 30.
Zima.
We're going to be 30 years old, and they're going to be rehashing things from the 2000s.
We're almost there.
I
They're
know.
already doing
We're like
another
there.
Spider-Man. I mean, since Marvel bought it.
I'm actually interested in that one.
Well, yeah, because he's young and they're not doing it as an origin story, which is
Yeah.
good. It's like we all understand. He got bit by a spider. This and
Yeah,
that.
we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
that
get into the action.
don't get me wrong. Huge fan of Spider-Man. I have tried to be patient with that series for so long, and finally they got an actor who's actually within the high school age range, and I'm like, oh, good. They got someone who's the age of Spider-Man, as opposed to, weird 30-year-old high school man.
Yeah. Well, it's because Marvel got it, so it's like Sony just didn't. know
Yeah,
what the hell
they
were doing.
finally. Yeah. I mean, Fantastic Four was the Marvel-defining comic book, but God knows that one hasn't been
Both.
handled well.
Both of those were terrible.
Yeah.
But back to Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Finally, what are your concluding thoughts about this upcoming season? Any final notes that you might have?
Smallpox gets introduced, everyone dies.
No, they're gonna weaponize grayscale.
Yeah, I heard that.
Or if there's anything left of that, the stuff that blew up the set. What's that called?
what's that
The
called?
wildfire? Yeah, she
Yeah,
still got
that.
a whole dungeon full of it.
alchemy.
Yeah, that stuff's scary.
Yeah.
See, I think she's gonna blow that up, trying to think that she's gonna kill Dany in that way. But it's like, bitch, I'm Queen of Fire. You can't kill me with that. She's like,
Yeah, I wonder if Daenerys
She
could
never-
survive that.
she probably
wait.
could.
So wait, Cersei
Which will be
was in the Red Keep when the wildfire was used, right? So she
Yeah.
never saw the wildfire and was never in awe of it or fell in love with it or terrified of it. Joffrey saw it. Tyrion saw it. Hound definitely saw it. Ooh. So I wonder if something is going to happen. Well, she did see the Citadel blow up.
Mhm.
So she has seen it work then. So then she's going to be all like,
Do you think it's possible that anybody in there could have survived, or might have escaped
No.
just before?
If it were someone no, because it was underground too.
I mean, someone could have escaped, but it wouldn't have been an important character because all of the important people we saw blow
Yeah.
up.
And they kind of locked them down in there. Also took out a big chunk of the civilization. I wonder if she'll blame it on terrorists.
In the books, I could totally see that being a thing, but in this show, where they really are just trying to narrow down, I really don't think that they would focus on that story again. As much as I liked those characters.
Yeah, that was definitely I don't know how to get rid of this perfect villain I've created, so I'm just gonna blow him up. Because when you're writing a book, no one can ask you a question in the middle of a chapter.
By the way, do y'all think that Cersei? Because I've read things, I've seen things that people talk about how Cersei cared about her kids. Do you really think she was a good mother? She really cared about her kids? Because I don't buy it.
You ever seen a
No,
helicopter?
I think
She
she
really cared
she
about
was.
us.
Yeah, that's all she cared about.
Have you ever seen a helicopter mom at the playground? She loves her child, but that woman won't let them breathe fresh air if it doesn't come out of her lungs first.
Do you think she feels
It goes for dads
any
too.
kind of guilt that Tommen killed himself?
No, she'll
I don't think
probably
so.
warp it into blaming
circles back
someone
around
else.
to Bran falling out the window. I think it's
Yeah.
something. It circles back
She'll-
to that. She felt guilty about what was the daughter's name?
Oh, I don't know.
Maricela.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know she felt really bad about that.
yeah, but I mean,
I think she also internally knew that was coming.
Mhm.
She didn't really have control over that
And I
because
think-
she knew it was.
at this point, she
Yeah.
probably has enough enemies to blame everyone else for her problems.
True.
So,
I mean, I think that Cersei has gone this crazy and will continue to go obscene levels of crazy
Nah.
because her children are gone.
Yeah,
She has
nothing
no
left to
regard
live
for anything else.
I really want to see that actress just break out full crazy because she's a great actress, and I want to see her just attack someone instead.
for. Mad Queen.
Yeah, no, I want to see her just go full ballistic on someone because she's screamed at people, she's cried, she's done the smoldering, smirky, evil glare, but seeing her go full ham on someone, just leap on them,
It'll be Jamie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really
Wanna
wouldn't
see
be
it.
surprised if she.
oh, and what if
Yeah,
he
and that would be
accidentally?
whatever he just.
What
kills
if
her.
he accidentally kills her in that moment?
Or what if he accidentally on purpose kills her?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
so
Kingslayer.
interested to see what he thinks when he comes back.
Yeah.
Because he missed it all, and he's going to come back, and she's going to literally be sitting on the Iron Throne, and he's going to be like, "What the
Brienne's
piss
gonna
did
be
you
like,
do?"
I will say this: the show is historically accurate in people's inability to communicate very important news to each other back in the day. We take for granted the ability to talk to each other so fast because literally your city could blow up while you're on vacation and you won't know until you get back, and it'll take you 3 months to go where you're going and back. So take your cell phones to heart because it's useful.
Yeah.
It's good to know stuff because you could literally you could leave for work and come back and your whole family's dead and you're like, damn, I wish I didn't have to work a city away and it takes me a week to get there.
Yeah, and it's nobody knows where Arya is type thing. It's Amber Alert, Arya Stark.
Yeah, you just paint the raven's wings a little bit with gold and you're like, Amber Alert. That's bad.
That's
It's named after. I think it was named after a girl named Anne. Anyway.
that's
Ugh.
well.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm excited for Dany and Cersei to meet, and I'm excited excited for Jamie to come back to see what the crazies happened.
God, what if they get along?
What if they all like just like get along and like
We're all
have
gonna
a
rule
fun
together.
time? Yeah.
What if Cersei and Dany get along and set the rest of the continent on fire? Like,
What if they do become like BFFs? Or like, you know what? Like, I got you, girl. Like, we're friends now.
I had never
And then they
considered
decide
that.
to
Die by
attack
White
everybody
Walkers
else.
Yeah.
because they won't help, and
Yeah,
then
Because the
they'll
Night
die.
King's
They're
gonna
like-
come and like
They're
wash
like,
them all
we'll grow
out.
our army together, and then they kill
See,
Jon.
the fact that no one's considered that means that it's probably going to be the thing that happens.
Yeah. Possible.
Sorry.
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to find out.
Guess we'll just have to
Find
find out.
July 16th, the new season of Game of Thrones is going to be on HBO. Also, head to uhdlsignal.com for stuff that we posted about Game of Thrones. All
Yeah.
kinds of cool, creative stuff. So go check that out. And yeah.
Good plug.
Dun, 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 dun.